Fallen Tree by William Blake. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not, my wrath did grow. And I watered it with fears, night and morning with my tears. And I sunned it with smiles, and with soft deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright. And my foe beheld and shined, and he knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night he had veiled his pole. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. Hi, my name's Christian Wyatt. I'm 21 years old. The reason this poem means so much to me is because I had such an anger problem as a child, and I would bottle up my emotions to the point to where when I finally would break, that it would be real bad. I did anger management classes in my youth, and poetry really did help me. This is one of my favorite poems by William Blake. He has a couple different poems that I like, but this was my favorite, which is why I chose it. I was a really bad problem child in school and extracurricular activities. I played sports to try and get my anger out. Sports didn't work. Counseling, I went to therapists, a bunch of different things my parents tried. And poetry was really the only thing that helped me. That and reading. I didn't have any friends when I was young, so that played a key role in why I acted the way I acted. One of the paragraphs in the poem, it says, and I watered it with fears, night and morning with my tears, and it sunned it with smiles, and with soft deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till I bore an apple bright, and my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. I always cried at night, and I remember my mom walking in and asking me what was wrong with me, and I couldn't tell her. I didn't know what depression was. I didn't know what anger was. I didn't know how to cope with certain things. And that's why none of the helped pride so much as a child. And no one would help me. No one knew how to help me. The only person that did help me was my grandma and my grandpa. My grandpa passed away 2 years ago. I went to his gravesite, and it was shocking to me. You think that grieving ends, and people always say grieve. You need to make sure you grieve, because like as a child, I would bottle stuff up. And I think even though it was 2 years ago, you grow a lot in those 2 years. I did bottle up a lot of stuff when my grandpa died, and when I went and saw him, it brought a lot of those emotions back, and I had to learn to cope with those. And while I was there, I read this poem to him, and I really believe that it helped me. I thank William Blake for all his poetry that he's given the world. Sometimes you think that they write that stuff for you, to help you move along with stuff. My biggest fight as an adult is depression. I struggle with it every day, but whenever I get down or whenever I get mad or upset, I find a poem and I read it, or I find a book and I read, or I work, or things like that. I talk to my fiance. I have a lot of support in my life, and I think a lot. My connection with the poem has a lot to do with my grandpa. He read a lot of poems to me on his deathbed. I guess that's really why I have such a strong connection with the poem. That was the last poem he read to me. And my connection with it is at the very end, as in before in the video, I told you that I had a very strong anger toward a lot of different things. And at the end of the poem, it says that his foe died. Well, my foe was my anger. So it symbolizes a lot of different things to me. And the tree, it also represents a lot to me because my grandpa planted a tree for me, and I always used to go and read under it. And not just read under it, I'd climb it, I'd do a whole bunch of different things. Just be a wild, rambunctious child. During my anger stage, my late anger stage, I ended up in prison. I read a lot of poetry in there, and I kept thinking about my grandpa, and I've done read William Shakespeare and Edgar Allan Poe and all that stuff in prison. And the very last book I read before I got out, it had this poem in it. And that's why it brings it so close to me. It just reoccurs and keeps popping up, and that's why I chose this.